Hello everybody, my name is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is actually a beginner's guide to makeup. So all my beginners out there, this video is for you. I show you guys what products I like to use, my techniques, what brushes, everything like that. I did this look right here. It's very beginner friendly. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and I hope that it was very helpful. Please subscribe to join my little family if you haven't already. Let's get into this video. Okay, so this is like a beginner's guide to makeup. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your skin is prepped for the makeup. So that means washing your face right. Use your daily cleanser just to start off with a nice base. The second thing you want to do is moisturize your face. So that's why I always go in with my Garnier moisturizing cream. You can use anything you want. This is just what I have right now. Even if you have oily skin, I know a lot of people like my sister, she has really oily skin and she tends to think that you don't need to moisturize because her skin is already oily, but you really do need to moisturize your face. It's like when you're painting a wall, you put on the primer first, right? Then you put on your actual color that you're going to use because it just looks better that way. Same thing with makeup. Just think of your face as a canvas, and especially if you have dry skin, make sure you do this because I have a lot of people that tell me that they don't know how their foundation just looks so bad on top of their skin, and it's honestly because maybe you don't use a moisturizer. Using a moisturizer just ensures that your foundation is going to look so flawless on top of your skin. It's not going to be clinging to all the dry patches. And then you just want to make sure you're letting all the products soak into your skin before you go in with another product, because that can also make your makeup application look really cakey and like everything's mixed together. That's another thing I learned from doing makeup. You just need to make sure everything has time to soak in and sink in. So after I apply my moisturizer, I like to go in with a primer. Primers come in all types. There's primers for oily skin, there's primers for dry skin, there's primers for dewy skin. You just need to see what primer is best for you with your skin type and everything like that. If you have oily skin, get one for oily skin. If you have dry skin, maybe you want like that dewy look. Like me, I have very dry skin, so I like dewy skin. So I like to go in with this MAC Strobe Cream. I don't think this is necessarily a primer, but it acts like a primer and it makes my skin look so smooth. So that's why I like going in with this as my primer. I just like to put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to be placing this all over my face, and then we just rub it in. Also, another tip, make sure you have clean hands because you are going to be touching your face a lot and you don't want to get pimples or anything like that. And this primer also smells so good. I love the way it smells. It kind of smells like lemons. I just rubbed that all over my face. Once again, we're going to let that soak into the skin. Everything needs to soak up because if everything's mixed together, it's going to look all like cakey and weird. So let everything sink in, like I said. Okay, so after I apply my primer, I like to go in with my foundation. So foundations is also like primers. There's so many different ones for so many different skin types. There's full coverage, there's medium coverage, there's light coverage. There's literally everything you want. And there's also a thing called BB cream and CC creams. So basically what those are, it's a foundation but it's mixed with moisturizer, so it gives you lighter coverage. That's what I started using when I first got into makeup. I didn't want to go straight in with the foundation because I didn't know what I was doing. It's all your personal preference. I really like this NARS Sheer Glow foundation. This is so great on top of my dry skin. It doesn't cling to any of my dry patches. So I like to just put it on the back of my hand like this, and then I just put it all over my face where I really need coverage. So I need it on my cheeks because that's where I'm really red. Chin because I have a pimple there, and then I put some on my nose. Okay, so for foundations, there's different ways to blend it. So you can use something like this. It's called a buffing brush. Yeah, you just want something very dense that you can really buff it in with. But I like to go in with a beauty blender. This one is so dirty. I'm so sorry. Like, it's stained. I really need to get a new one. And you want to work from the inner part going outward, okay? So we're just gonna be bouncing this in. With foundation or a beauty blender, you never want to swipe because that is not going to give you good coverage. You really need to pat it in. And also when you're swiping, you look kind of streaky, and we don't want that. No streaks. We want everything nice and blended. So just keep patting it in. Okay, so you want to get this foundation everywhere, all the way down to your neck, like this. Okay, and this part is very tricky as well. Some people don't do this, but please make sure you're blending it into your hairline. If your hair is like this, make sure you really lift it up and make sure you're dragging that into your hairline. This is the only time I'll let you swipe. You don't want people to know where your makeup starts and ends. You want everything to be nice and seamless all around. Okay, so after foundation, we're gonna go in with a concealer. I know you're probably wondering, like, why do we still need to go in with something else? Because we already put this all over our face, so you probably think we don't need more coverage, right? Basically, a concealer, you get it in a shade a little lighter than your actual skin tone, because you need this to highlight. You need to bring these features out. And also, if you need more coverage, you can get a concealer in your actual skin tone and just place it over pimples or blemishes and anything like that, so you can add more coverage. But I like to use it for highlighting, and I like to use this one. This one is a Tarte Shape Tape concealer. This one is so amazing. It sits well on top of my skin, so I have no complaints. So basically with this, you're gonna put it in a triangle underneath your eyes. I like to drag it on the sides of my nose like this, because this is gonna help when you're contouring your nose. And then you just drag some like this underneath your eye, because you want this to pop out. So side of the nose, and you're gonna drag down. Chin. And then I like to put some on the center of my nose like this. Down. And right here. You put it on all the places you want to bring forward. You can also put some right here on the center of your forehead, but I don't like to do that because I already have a humongous forehead, so I don't really need that. Then you just grab your beauty blender and start bouncing that in like this. And you want to work fast with this concealer because it does dry kind of fast. That's why I'm explaining as I'm doing it. Bounce it in your chin. Same thing on this side. Just bounce, bounce, bounce. We're not swiping, we're not rubbing, we're bouncing. So now the center of the nose. Okay, so the next thing you want to do after you put all your liquids, you want to go in with powders. So I like this Shade and Light contour palette, and I'm going to be using these two shades to set my concealer with that. Basically, you're setting your liquids because you don't want them to slip around throughout the day. That also causes cakiness and just streakiness and everything like that. You want everything to be nice and set, so no matter where you are, no matter what degrees it is, it's gonna stay on. So yeah, I like to go in with these two right here with a brush that looks like this. It doesn't need to be this one in specific, just any brush that you have that's fluffy and that fits underneath your eye. And also before you set, you want to just make sure you have no creases. Like, see, I already had a crease there from underneath my eyes. So you just want to go with your beauty blender and just pat that in. And then right away you want to go in with your powder to set where it is. And try not to make a different kind of face when you're doing this, because then it'll set that way. So just make sure you're like looking normal. But like, do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, don't look up and set, because that's not how you're gonna normally be. You're gonna be like this, like looking forward. So make sure you set it like that. I suck at explaining things, so the subscriber that said that I explain things so well, I feel like you're lying at. So I'm just setting that, and that also makes it look more flawless. Like, do you see this side? It looks kind of airbrushed, and this side still looks like shiny and like weird. And I also like to bring this powder on the sides of my nose as well, and also right here in the corners of your nose. And also what you can do is set your smile lines right here, because this also creases on me throughout the day, so I like to set it. And then I'm gonna set my chin. So just like we set that liquid, we want to set the rest of this liquid, which was the foundation. So for that, I like to go in with this powder right here. This is the Airspun Loose Setting Powder. You can use any powder that you want. There's also pressed powders. I just personally like using powder like this because it's easy. Like, I don't know, I just think it's easier, but you can use anything you want. So I like using this all over my face. Like I said, I specifically put it where I'm gonna contour because I need that to be really nice and set for my contour. So I concentrate it there, and I just go around everywhere else. Don't forget to bring it down your neck either. And then I like to put some on my nose to set all that as well. And like I said, we're patting, we're not swiping. Okay, so once everything is set, we're gonna wanna go back in with our Shade and Light contour palette, and we're gonna start contouring. So contouring is basically when you want to bring out shadows from your face. Let's say you want bigger cheekbones, and for your cheekbones to be more visible, you're gonna place a contour here to bring this out, you know what I'm saying? And if you want to bring out your jawline, you're gonna place it here. And then just to make things smaller as well, like your forehead, you're going to want to place contour around your forehead if you want to make that smaller. And then people also put contours on the side of their nose just so it can look more smaller as well. So I go in with this color right here. You can go in with something like this that's more of like a shadow color, but I don't really like the way this one sits on my skin. It kind of makes me look purple in a way. So I go in with this one right here because this one's more of like a neutral. It's not too cool and it's not too warm. It's just like right in the middle. And I take a brush that looks like this. It's just very small and precise to fit into my cheekbones like this. So you're just going to place it right here. It's typically where your ear is all the way to the corner of your mouth, but you don't bring it all the way in there. This is just like the guide of where you're going to place it. So right here. So you place it like that and see how that's already lifting the face and giving more shape than this side. So you just want to really make sure you're actually really blending that out because we don't want to be walking around with just two lines. We want everything to be nice and blended. And you can start dragging it up here just so it can look more natural right here on the temple. So I picked up more product and I'm going to start placing this on my jawline. And when you're doing your jawline, you really want to make sure you're blending it down your neck as well because you don't want to just look like you have like a brown line there. You want everything to be nice and blended, so make sure you're dragging it down as well. And we're also going to be further blending when we go in with our bronzer, so I'm also going to teach you guys what bronzer does. But yeah, contouring is just chiseling out your face, making sure that everything is nice and structured if you're going for that type of look. If you really don't care, you really don't need to do this. You can just go straight in with bronzer like I'm going to show you right now in a bit. But if you want that more sculpted look, you need to do this. Okay, so when you're doing your nose, you need to grab a totally different brush because you're not going to use something so big. So I like to use something like this that's just very nice and small. So I'm going to dip back into that same powder. And for nose contouring, everybody's noses are different, like I've said a million times. When people contour their noses, they want to make it smaller. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it smaller. So you want to place some contour right here underneath your brow because this is going to make it look more natural looking instead of just going straight down on the sides. You need to add some shadow here too. So you're going to go down the sides of your nose like this. And then you can also make your nostrils look smaller. This also just makes you look like you have a really snatched nose. So I like to add some contour here just so it can make it look like my nostrils are smaller. And right here. And then you just want to contour the tip so this can give you a more lifted look. I'm just going to be blending that out. You need to make sure everything's nice and blended. So I like to go in with a brush like this. And you're just going to go like this to blend it out because we don't want any harsh lines. Okay, so now we're going to get into some bronzer. The bronzer I like to use is this Marc Jacobs one. It's called Tantastic. So basically bronzer is just to add more color to your face because if you go out like this, like it doesn't really look that blended. You really need something else to bring some more dimension to your face. So that's why we go in with bronzer. And this also blends out your contour even more. It's kind of like a transition shade from your contour to your blush. So this is what makes everything look nice and blended. So I'm going to go in like this. You want to take it on your temple as well. This is what's going to make my forehead look smaller. And then you bring it down your neck. Okay, so now we're going to go in with some blush. Blush also accentuates your cheeks so nicely. Like if you really want your cheeks to be poppin' and to look like you have really nice cheekbones, blush is a must. So you want to smile and you see this big part right here, that's where you place your blush. And you drag it all the way back to where your bronzer is like this. I like to put some on my chin and the forehead a little bit just to tie everything together. And also the tip of the nose like this. It just makes it look more natural and kind of like sun-kissed. Okay, now what I like to do is something called baking. So I like to use this Laura Mercier translucent powder. You don't really need to do this if you're a beginner and you don't have like all these things, but I would really recommend it because as a beginner, we're not that great at makeup. Like I know I wasn't. You know, there's a lot of mistakes there and things can get messy. So this is kind of just like gonna clean all that up. You know what I'm saying? This is what baking powder looks like. It's just loose. And I like to take something like this. This is just a sponge from like the drugstore. So you dip into that and you place it underneath your contour like that, like directly underneath it, and you take it all the way to the corner of your mouth. This is just gonna clean up any contour or bronzer that went past this point, because you don't want it there. You want everything to be up here so it can look very nice and lifted, and down here you want it kind of clean because it doesn't go here. And then you can also bake the corners of your nose as well. And this just makes sure that your nose contour is gonna be popping. Like, it's gonna look so good after this. So with bake, you wanna let it sit for a couple of minutes. If you wipe it off right away, it's not gonna really give you that sharp line. So you really need it to sit there for a little bit. So while that's sitting there, we're gonna go and do our brows. So for brows, there's different type of things. There's powder, there's brow pencils, there's pomades. Once again, it's all personal preference. If you want a more natural look, I would really recommend a powder or a pencil. But if you want a more Instagram brow look, then I would recommend the pomade. But I really like the natural look, so I'm gonna go in with a powder. I use this Maybelline The Nudes palette. It's a dark brown shade that matches my brow hairs perfectly. So that's what I like to use, and I like to use this brush by Anastasia. It's the number 12 brush. So basically with any brow, you just want to make sure you're shaping it nicely. So you want to outline the bottom like this, and then you want to do the same thing on the top as well. You want to really outline it nicely just to give it some shape. Then you're going to fill it in. And I'll also have my brow tutorial linked down below. I go more in depth. If you guys want to check it out, I'll have it in the description bar down below. And then in the front of your brow, you want to make sure you have less product, and you're just going to flip your brush like this, and you're going to start flicking upwards like this. Because you don't want to fill it in like that because it's going to look too harsh. You need a nice fade. So this needs to be lighter, and then it gets darker as you get to the tip. And then this is what's a lifesaver if you went overboard. This is kind of like the eraser. You just brush it out. It makes it look way softer. Okay, so once we have that, you're going to want to go back in with your concealer because this is really going to clean the brows up. And if you made any mistakes, if they look kind of messy, this is your lifesaver. So to carve out my brows, I like to use this brush right here. This is the Equal Tools concealer brush. So I just like to dip into that product, and I'm going to start cleaning up the brow. So you're going to want to put that directly underneath where you made that outline. It's kind of like what we're doing here. We're cleaning it up, but this is with concealer. Then I like to take a little brush like this just to pat it in. I'm just going to be patting that in. So usually after that, I have quite a bit of concealer left on the back of my hand, so I like to use this to prime my eyelids. It's going to give you a nice base for some shadow. Most people use concealer, or you can also use an eyelid primer, but it all works the same. Then you just get your finger and pat that in. Okay, so once we have that concealer, you want to go back in with a powder that's just your skin tone shade to set that concealer. You don't want to set it too much because then the shadows are just going to slip off and not be able to stick to your lid. So you just want to add a little bit. Then what I would recommend for a beginner is getting the bronzer that you used all over your face, and you can actually use this as eyeshadow. This is going to be a very simple beginner look. Get a fluffy brush. This is called a crease brush. It looks like this. It has to be something very fluffy, and you're just going to start buffing this into your lid. So this is what we call a transition shade. If you guys want some like beginner makeup looks from me, like eye looks, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm just going to be doing this on my eyes because this is a very beginner friendly tutorial, so I don't want to make it too hard. Now what we're going to do is curl our eyelashes. So this is a curler. I don't know if I'm teaching you guys like your babies and like you don't know, but if you didn't know, this is an eyelash curler. It looks like this. You don't have to do this if you have really nice pretty curled eyelashes, but I don't. And I really need to curl them. So yeah, I just like to put my eyelashes in there, give it a few pumps, not too hard, and make sure you actually release it before you pull it, because we've all been there where we yank some lashes off. Okay, then we're gonna go in with some mascara. You do this after you curl your eyelashes, because if you put this on and then you curl them, it's not gonna look pretty. It's gonna be a hot mess. So make sure you do this after you curl them. You start from the base and wiggle up. Also, very important tip is when you're dipping, just dip once, take it out. Don't be pumping this tube because you're gonna get air in there and it's gonna dry out quicker. So just dunk and take it out. Don't be putting air in there. Okay, so you can stop there, but I like to use lashes. So we're gonna go in with lashes today. I'm gonna teach you guys how to put them on. So for beginners, I really recommend these kind of lashes. These are the Ardell Wispies. The band is very thin, so it sticks very easily instead of going in with like a thick lash like mink lashes. Those do not stick right and it takes a long time and you're gonna get frustrated. So I would really recommend lashes like these. These are the Ardell ones, like I said, and I also like the Kiss lashes. This is the lash glue I like to use. This is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive. I do not like the Duo one at all. It smells so bad and it's really messy, so messy. So I really recommend this one because this one is very nice and it actually has this kind of applicator, so you brush it on instead of like the Duo one where you have to squeeze it and everything like that. So I really recommend this one. I'm gonna get my lashes real quick. Okay, so with lashes, not every lash band is gonna fit you because we all have different eye shapes. So I have smaller ones, like this whole thing is not gonna fit my eye shape. So I like to cut them and they end up looking like this. What I like to do is get my lash and I take my lash glue and I put it on top. I don't place it like this. I place it on top because I like to stick my lashes underneath. So with lashes, you just want to let them dry for a little bit. Not completely, just until they get tacky. So I have them set right here. I'm just going to let them get tacky for a little bit. While that's happening, we're going to remove our bake. So we're just going to brush that off with a brush that looks like this. It can be a very nice fluffy brush. And you see how that just cleaned it up very nicely? That's what we wanted. So yeah, we're doing good. Then just brush this off like that. So you're gonna need some tweezers. Okay, and you're gonna have to be very, very careful because we are close to our eyes with a sharp object. So yeah, you're gonna wanna look down into a mirror and you're gonna stick it on your lashes, not where the water line is because it won't stick there. You need to stick it to your lashes, very close to the base. Right there. See how that stuck? Then you're gonna squeeze it and you're gonna go right here and fix the inner corner. And then you're gonna fix the outer corner. Do the same. And this is not hard at all. It doesn't burn at all. If you place it on your waterline, it will burn. So make sure you're really placing it just where your lashes are. So that's on there. Now I'm just gonna give it a very nice squeeze. Now we're gonna highlight. So the highlight I like to use is a very natural one. This one's by Kevin Aquan. So you place it right here on the top of your cheekbones just for a nice dewy look. Do you see that? And you can place it above your brow right here just to kind of give you that nice lift. You can place it right here. Right here. You place it right here on your cupid's bow just so your lips can be more pouty. And then you bring it on the bridge of your nose as well, like this. Now we're gonna be doing our lips. So you wanna get a lip liner, a nude one preferably. For a beginner, I would prefer a nude for you. This one is MAC Strip Down. And basically with a lip liner, you're gonna really shape your lips. If you go straight in with your lipstick, it can look really messy and not nice. So I really recommend a lip liner. And you're gonna wanna start lining the shape of your lips. I would recommend lining the shape of your lips, and then if you wanna overline, you can do that later. But just have like the shape of your natural lips first. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with MAC Honey Love. It's another nude. And then you can take your finger and pat that in. So I recently started to like a little bit more color, so I'm gonna go in with Velvet Teddy. It's still a nude, it just actually has like a little color to it. But I'm gonna add a little pink. Now once you have all that, you wanna use a setting spray to just set everything in place. So I'm gonna do that really quick. And this is just gonna ensure that all your powders and everything soak in together, and also that your makeup lasts throughout the entire day. Okay, so this was the final makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial. I hope you guys that are beginners learned something new. Please let me know in the comments down below what you want to see from me next. I really get in a rut because I never know what to film. So please help a girl out. And yeah, give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below to join my little family if you haven't already. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.